All right, Arena Breakout's closed beta on PC has started, Arena Breakout Infinite. And I gotta say, if you're a fan of Tarkov, jumping into this game is gonna feel mighty familiar. But with that said, there are so many things that this game does that Tarkov hasn't, should have, or will never. I don't understand how what people are calling a Tarkov clone is doing Tarkov better than Tarkov. I'll be honest, it's exactly what I said it was going to be. This reminds me of like what Rings of Elysium was for PUBG. It was a much better, streamlined, more accessible experience to the hardcore-esque nature of PUBG. That whole Tarkov, you know, getting in, getting your ass kicked, being demoralized, this game solves a lot of the issues that Tarkov just refuses to solve, including things like performance. I'm jumping into this game for the first time, my first raid. I'm getting 144 FPS, and it's smooth as butter. I actually couldn't believe it. But then when people brought up to me the idea that these guys came from mobile and they're making a game for PC. Now, I want to squash the misconception right off the bat. This is not a mobile game ported to PC. This is a brand new build built in Unreal Engine 4 that gives you the exact kind of same experience that the mobile game has. There are some differences, however, that I do want to go through later on in this video, but performance in this is completely stellar. And I have to say, coming off the heels of the launch of Gray Zone Warfare, holy shit, it is a breath of fresh air to actually play a game like Tarkov and not have to worry about your GPU exploding or not have to worry about you dropping frames in incredible moments in firefights and everything else. The game runs like a fucking dream. When you boot up the game for the first time, there is a tutorial that tells you where to go to add things into your inventory. It takes you through your first run. There's a welcoming kind of feel to the game that gets you in and running so you understand the mechanics. Now, if you're a Tarkov fan, if you're a fan of extraction shooters, that tutorial is going to be essentially useless for you. But I'm focusing on the accessibility here. This is going to be welcoming in a whole new crowd of people to the extraction shooter genre. And this is that fucking game if you want to jump into the extraction shooter genre, but Tarkov is a little bit too intimidating for you. The great thing about it is you can customize every aspect of your HUD, down to your weapons being on the side, showing your ammo, down to your stamina and your arm stamina for when you're ADSing, the raid timer, you can keep up top all the time or you can hide. There's so much customization in just the HUD elements that you can actually tailor the game to your experience. Now, right now, the beta has 2 maps. You're going to be spending a lot of your early time in the game on a map called Farm. Farm is essentially, I guess it would be like your customs experience. There's a lot of forest, there's a lot of urban environments, there is some nice underground bunkers. Dude, there's a lot of points of interest on this map. The map is fucking sick. We finally hit level 8 and we unlocked Valley, which is, I would say, more along the lines of like a shoreline mixed with woods, but also mixed with some urban environments as well. The maps are sick. Visually, I think watching the game through either Twitch or if you're watching it on YouTube, I don't think it does it justice, because just like in Tarkov and any other game with a lot of foliage, dude, the bitrate, the compression, and everything just makes the game look worse than it actually is. The game on the monitor is fucking gorgeous. The audio is very responsive. As somebody who is essentially half deaf playing this game, I'm able to pinpoint. It's just like you're walking through a building and it's like, well, everybody stop. And you can pinpoint where players are moving. If they're moving slow, you can kind of hear them and you can pick up the directional audio. And I would say about 95% of the time, it works. It got a little finicky in one raid where we thought we heard somebody above us, but they were up on rocks and it was a little bit weird. The directional audio works 95% of the time. If they can nail that last little bit in those awkward little moments, you're golden. But the game has an intensity that I would say rivals Tarkov, even in this closed beta state. We have to talk about the progression in the gear fear element of it in just a little bit. I want to talk about things that I like about this game, and there is a lot. The fact that you have the quality of life features of having markers above your teammates' heads. The fact that if a teammate goes down in a raid and I loot them and pick up their stuff and then extract, I don't have to then jump into the next raid and drop everything for them. It just sends it automatically to them. So you work as like a delivery service and the game handles the rest if you can get out with some of their gear. Now, this is a great quality of life feature for when you're playing with your squads, but on top of that, it is a very big deterrent against real money transactions. I think the developers have a fucking winner here when it comes to the extraction style game. They have a lot of things that Tarkov needs to have. Me being able to open the map in real time, in game, look at where my mission is, go to that mission and do it, and just having that information at my disposal without having to go to the Tarkov wiki to fucking learn about it. And, oh, how do I do this quest? Oh, I gotta open up an Excel spreadsheet and do it. None of that is here. It is all built in the game. Having a compass on screen makes it so much easier to call out directions of enemies. You see somebody running off in the distance, I can look up and just, oh yeah, he's 125, go. And like, it's done. And now everybody knows where to look. This makes combat more snappy because now that you have that tool at your disposal to be able to make effective calls, so does the other team. Which means if you're playing like a well-kitted team, and we ran into a few of them already, those battles are actually really intense and nobody's running around like a chicken with their fucking head cut off. It feels really good to play. Now, I will say, since starting up stream this morning and watching the drama unfold, there has been a little bit of an accusation. We got a little bit of drama in the Arena Breakout community. A tweet from Logical Solutions has stirred up quite the hornet's nest, in which he tweeted out that Arena Breakout is stealing Tarkov's game code. Now, he does put the question mark. He's, whoa, Arena Breakout? Stealing Tarkov's game code? BSG was right all along? The tweet reads that a community member reached out to me with stuff he found on a popular cheating forum. People have already ripped the game apart and found copied code from Battlestate Games. Using actual Tarkov boss names in the Arena Breakout mobile and desktop games is not a good sign at all. And in the tweet, he links a picture of a bunch of float values that make up this struct that is called F-Boss Settings. So what this struct is doing, I'm not quite sure, but there's references to guys like Killa and Kojani and Gular, who are bosses in Tarkov. Now, I don't know where this struct is. I don't know what it's actually referencing. This is just a list of float variables that have been found within the game files. And when you actually go and do some digging, which I don't think this tweet did enough to do, some of these variables referenced here are also referenced within Tarkov. How they're referenced, nobody really knows. But now we're starting to see a lot of content creators and a lot of gamers coming out and saying that Arena Breakout has stolen all of Tarkov's game code from a single tweet that doesn't really show much outside of potentially some of the same variable names. I'm not sure if this is something maybe they pulled out of the builds from single player Tarkov and have used as references. The thing that I have a big problem with here is that both games are built on different languages. Unity's code language is C#, Unreal Engine 4's code language is C++. So like, I don't know how stealing code is I don't know how you would even do that. If anything, like if this is true, they would have had to steal the code and then convert it and change it to make it work within Unreal Engine 4. And I'm just not sure if that's something they did. There's no actual proof that that's what they did. But of course, the internet's going to run with it regardless. I don't know what the situation is here. I do know that there is a content creator Discord for Arena Breakout that I actually, at the time of recording this video, just got invited to, where we can actually ask questions. This is going to be the first one I'm going to ask. What the fuck is going on here? Where I'm at with this situation specifically is I don't have enough proof in front of me to make a call one way or another. And just like what we saw last week with the whole BSG, like unheard of edition, a lot of people said that they just took a knife from the marketplace and slapped it into their bundle. And a lot of people were clowning them on it. And it turns out once people actually did the digging, they realized that just wasn't true. And what I'm finding nowadays is gamers are willing to go off of a single fucking tweet that has no proof at all and just run with it. Go to streams and just fucking, have you heard? Arena Breakout stole all of their fucking code, dude. Look at the tweet. And the tweet is a bunch of fucking float values inside of a struct that doesn't really give any context, that doesn't really do anything at all outside of, I don't know what the motive is here. So for me, like, I'm open, like, if they did steal their code and are actively using their code, which again, 2 different programming languages, I don't know how that would work, but if they are, we got a problem. But like, I don't know, man, I'm not about to throw the baby out with the bathwater until we actually see some real fucking evidence of something like that happening. But regardless, let's talk about some of the things that I don't like about Arena Breakout Infinite. And I'll be honest with you guys, there's really not a lot I can say that is negative about this game right now. I have ran into a couple of issues where the servers have like shit the bed for a couple of seconds while we've been running. Everybody in my squad notices a huge frame dip during this moment. I don't know what's going on there. This has happened maybe 3 times during my entire playthrough so far. Not really enough to like worry about. Like, if I'm okay running Gray Zone Warfare at the frame rate I am, I'm okay with a server dip every maybe 4th or 5th raid at this point for a second, and then things just go back. Whatever it is, it does obviously need to be fixed, but I don't even know. I can't even be like, it's this, you know, doing it. I don't know. It's obviously a server issue. One thing that I am missing from the mobile game that I wish we could have here is the ability to spectate. So if you guys have played the mobile game, you know, if you go in with a teammate and you die, you can actually spectate and watch their game. I think as like a content creator who is streaming the game and wanting to keep up with the firefights and stuff, if I go down in a fight, if I could just spectate my own teammates until they either extract or die, that just makes the viewing experience so much better. And I'm curious why the mobile version has it, but this one doesn't. It feels like a very big missed opportunity here. And it also kind of goes into the fact, like, a lot of gamers are just running with this idea that this is just a mobile port coming to PC. It's clearly not. It's missing good quality of life features that the mobile port has that the build here doesn't. I'm hoping that that comes for launch. Maybe it just didn't happen in the beta, but it's something I definitely want to see, and is one thing that I want to ask them in that Discord. And of course, I would say probably the #1 problem that is actually going to turn people off, and it's something I mentioned in my video yesterday, which was all of my concerns about this game, the one being the monetization model. I think we're finally starting to get the gist of what they're doing. The Gamma containers, we know now that they're going to be on a subscription fee, much like their mobile counterpart. So you literally pay a subscription to get access to a secure container, whether it's a 2x2 or a 2x3. I don't know what the sizes are, but in this closed beta, you were given a 7-day token that adds on to the Gamma container, and so you're able to use it throughout this entire test. But once the game comes out, you're gonna have to pay to get the Gamma container. Now, I think where people are going to have a major problem here is that, I mean, clearly people are going to say it's pay to win. When you look at the Tarkov Edge of Darkness edition, where you could literally pay an upgraded, you know, dollar amount to get increased stash space and get that increased size in the Gamma container, that technically is pay to win. The problem that I think people are going to have here is the subscription. Dude, I'll be honest, I love subscriptions, not in this case specifically, but like, I still play World of Warcraft. I pay that subscription. I like it when it comes with a lot of content and there's value for what you're putting up. I don't know if there's enough value for paying a monthly fee. Granted, I don't know what the price is going to be. I think I saw a screenshot of the mobile version of Arena Breakout being around $5. So $4.99 a month. You get that Gamma container. I don't know if I would even want to pay that. But regardless, I think that's where the subjectiveness of things like pricing comes into account here. I think a lot of people in this community are going to be like, nah, fuck that. But you can play the game without purchasing that subscription, and it's a completely like free to access game without that piece. A lot of people are going to say it's pay to win. A lot of people are going to be pissed at the subscription model of that, you know, microtransaction. It really just comes down to how you feel about that type of monetization. For me, I mean, They could go a bunch of different ways with monetization. They could bring a bunch of skins in. They could bring a bunch of, you know, weapon skins or whatever else, customization options. And then, you know, who knows if that would lead to bunny skins and everything else that people complain about. Or do they make this game just a one-time paid option? We see what's going on with Tarkov right now and a lot of other tactical shooters. Microtransactions eventually make their way over. Or do they have this kind of like pay for convenience option that, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily break the game, but I think is going to piss off a lot of people in the PC market? I just don't know. But that is going to be one of the biggest conversation pieces when this game comes out and you can actually purchase things in this game. But I do think that this game is probably the closest thing to a Tarkov alternative that you can get that does a lot of things that Tarkov should have probably focused and done multiple years ago. I do see a lot of creators calling this like baby's first Tarkov or like Tarkov for dads because of these quality of life features, like, you know, being able to open the map and see where your quests are, I guess. And yeah, it's weird. Honestly, yeah, Tarkov is a lot more hardcore because you have to open up multiple tabs on a browser on another monitor to be able to navigate through some of these missions if you're new to the game. Sure, I guess. That being said, guys, I'm actually really enjoying Arena Breakout. I think it has a pretty bright future, and there's not really a lot of negatives I can say outside of, obviously, they need to get, you know, better pinged servers. That's the point of a closed beta test. I'm not too worried about it. Performance was great. It's a really, really fucking fun game that I think is so much more accessible for those who like Tarkov, but don't want to have to sit there in 9 to 5 fucking Tarkov and go and look at Wikipedias and fucking Excel spreadsheets and open up multiple tabs when you're playing to be able to figure out what fucking quest you're on. Like, that stuff to me is just poor game design that is kind of covered by a community that believes that's super hardcore, and I'm just not about that. So Arena Breakout, for me, I'm fucking loving it. It is exactly what I need for my extraction shooter fix, and I'm gonna wrap up this video and probably go play more tonight. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below. And while you're down there, leave a like on the video and subscribe for more Arena Breakout coverage. I am going to be following this game because if what they do on PC is anything like what they're doing on mobile, where they have seasons where new content, new weapons, new maps, and all that stuff comes, that's going to be huge for the PC landscape. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.